TV. Luke's here finally. We've been trying to arrange a day to do a video with Luke to speak about what is happening regarding manager-coach situation. I have to say manager-coach situation nowadays because that's the way it is. Luke, I know you're frustrated, aren't you, of what's happening? We don't know, do we, though? Let's be fair, what is happening?
I don't know. It just seems like very reminiscent of February, like all over again. Do you know what I mean? We've got like young English coaches that we could pick, and I mean we're probably going to pick somebody that we've never heard of.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the silence from the club is saying it all. It's been a month since we got relegated, nearly now, and
it is, isn't it? It is.
Yeah,
it's a month, I think.
And I just think the silence, like I've been looking at a lot of forums, and when Ben Mansford were here, not many people liked him, but he were always communicating with fans, always kept people up to date. And I think fans would just like some answers as to about what's happening. Because Paul Hurst, apparently we're on shortlist for thinking he's gone to Ipswich now. But it seems to me that they've put all their eggs in one basket and relied on Hurst to turn around and say, I'll take Barnes' job. And then they're like, well, what do we do now? Now he's gone to Ipswich.
Exactly. It's a bit like signings, isn't it? Them that were turning us down, we had no, plan B, yeah. Who is your ideal candidate for the job then?
Well, I would say Ainsworth or Hopkin. Just really for the fact that Hopkins he's got Livingston promoted twice in 2 years. And people are going to say, oh, Scotland's a poor league. But then to get a team up twice in 2 years, you've got to have a formula that works, haven't you? Do you know what I mean? He's got to do something. He's got to be doing something that's working. And he's got to be doing something that's obviously getting results. And he's been linked with Bradford job as well. And Ainsworth, he's playing a good brand of football. He's turning mediocre League 2 team into a team that's going to put automatic on a budget, and again promotes younger players. I mean, if they, I know McCarthy was the fans' favourite from the start, but even if they haven't asked him, if they haven't asked him, then for me that's poor. Even if he turns around and says no, because at least then you've asked him, because there's not really any job now that he can get, because Leeds' job looks like it's going to that Marcelo Bielsa, former Argentina manager.
Will last till January or something, in Leeds.
So I can't see McCarthy getting any other job, because Ipswich job's obviously left that one. QPR job's been taken up. Leeds one's going to be taken up by a foreign manager. So there's not really any jobs in Championship that I could see McCarthy getting at this moment in time. So even if we hadn't asked him, why have we not just said money's there on table? Why, But
like what I said, what if we have asked him?
Well, if that's the case, then fair enough.
Would you like what I said? I don't know if you know what I said about it. I said that if we have asked him, he's turned us down. I won't bother with McCarthy anymore.
Move on then, because we did it. If we asked him in February, I think he turned links down, didn't he? And said, I'm concentrating on Ipswich, which is fair enough. But if we've asked him and he said no, then move on to the next one. I just think that. I don't know. I just think there's an opportunity here to really take this year as a positive moving forward, and it could all go wrong. I mean, everybody's looking at this appointment here. This is their main appointment. I mean, their appointment in a race wasn't the sole factor, but it was a contributing factor as to how it went down. So people are watching this more keenly than ever. And if we get somebody that's going to be a total disaster, and we're in November and we're in mid-table, people are going to be wanting change, aren't they? Again,
of course,
and we need stability. So ideally in February when Maurice came in, like I said to you from the start, we never the right man for me. We needed something for long term from February to keep us up and then to build for this season, which is why I said it's so important to keep us in the Championship. I mean, other clubs are going to be looking at our players and thinking, well, we're going to take opportunity of this and look at players that are unsettled. Mallon, Bradshaw, players that I'd like to keep. And they'll be looking to trying to make a bargain out of them. And we're being linked with players, but who's making these signings?
Well, I keep seeing that, and that's what I've questioned about it. Going back to managers and coaches, the difference between them. There's nobody in the number one spot, but we're still identifying players. Do you know what I mean? We keep seeing links to us being looking at players. Also, with players leaving, there's players leaving who a manager who comes in might have wanted to keep.
That's why I think we're returned list. I don't know if there were a certain time that they had to release it or not, but there could have been a manager that wanted to work with Hamill. And I mean, other what I know retained lists, I won't need to talk about that. We're only Amala bothered about, you know.
That were a case of wages though, because I read a rumour that he were on $8,000 and apparently we were offering him 4.
Yeah, he's turned it down. So if that's the case, then fair enough. You know, I think he's turned 30. He's not going to really get a high-end championship club anymore, in my opinion. I think he's going to be a lower championship team, like a Bolton or a Blackburn type.
Yeah.
And he might move to Australia now. But I was disappointed in the way that it were dealt with. If I suppose they're going to have to trim down, but then again, people are going to say, well, like, all money's there.
Yeah.
The multi-billionaires, these lot. So it makes you think how much money they're going to be putting in. And this, going back to original interview that they didn't say they were going to really be putting much more in than Crine did. So I don't think much is going to change. I think that's going to be the most frustrating thing. They've got the money, but not's going to change.
Which is frustrating in a way, isn't it?
It might become a portfolio club. Do you know, like Watford have?
You said that, didn't you? When did you say that? Now, what? I can't remember when you said it. You said it with Eckingbottom, didn't you? When Eckingbottom left for Leeds.
Yeah. We're going to become like Watford have got Udinese, and I think it's a team in Spain, Granada, and they've got Watford as well. These lot have got Nice, Barnsley, and they were after another Spanish team. I don't know who it were, but is this what we're becoming? And Steve said it quite a lot, didn't he, end of last season, that he's scared that we're losing his identity. And I'm quite fearful of that if it goes wrong way. I mean, there's players that we should be keeping and saying, just wait till manager comes in. But apparently there's a German kid, I hadn't heard of him before, to be fair, Stendel, Daniel Stendel, is odds-on.
Odds-on favourite at minute.
Yeah. Apparently they've bet Victor's closed betting on it.
Do you go on odds, though? Do you go on odds?
There's got to be some truth behind it. Because I know that for a fact that...
But that's the thing, innit? What about Marais? He were never on. He wasn't on there at all.
Well, apparently he were never... Even though they interviewed Jack Ross and Grayson and Bowyer, he were always the one that they wanted. Yeah. So they just interviewed others for the sake of it, which makes you think, what they interviewed him for the sake of it for? Why have they wasted it?
Why not just wasted a week or so? Yeah. Why not just get him straight in?
Yeah, if that's what they've identified. I mean... People are going to say, you know, I don't. To be honest, I don't care what nationality it is. My thing is, if it is a guy that comes in from, he's coached Hanover, isn't he? So they're the bigger club than us, and they've been at Bundesliga for a long time. I think did they get relegated? I don't know, but he'll know nothing about this standard of football. We need somebody that's been there and done it, which is why sometimes I think maybe a Simon Grayson appointment would be quite wise, because he's took 4 teams up out of League One and football ain't pretty, and he didn't do great at Bradford or Sunderland, but behind the scenes didn't help there. But you're looking at somebody that's reliable that can get a team up. Yeah. And at this moment in time, I think pretty football goes out at window. I think we just need to get back in Championship and then start from there. But I'm scared that it's going to be another bad appointment. And Grant McCann is another one that don't really flatter me at all. Very underwhelming. It just doesn't, in terms of recruitment, that's where I'm looking at it from.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Somebody who can maybe attract the odd face and the odd experienced professionals who with I can't remember who I saw now. Who else we were linked with? Somebody from Championship. An old Ed from Championship, but I can't remember his name. No, player. Right. It were a player. I can't remember where I saw it though, but I did see it.
I mean, linked with Kevin Nolan as well. I think he's a decent man. He did do well at Notts County, but we're giving I think we're going to maybe even make a similar decision as to we did with Johnson and Eckingbottom, a young British coach. Or we're going to go as Marais again. But I think they're being very cautious because they know that if they get this decision wrong, it's going to backfire on them.
Yeah, and it'll be a lot worse than this one because obviously they've got that first decision. So we're going to stay behind them for this one. But if this one goes wrong, it could be. This
is what I've said though when they first came in. If they're not used to football, why have they not got people on board that are used to football? Why have they not got people who got the expertise? Yeah. If that's not their skill, why have they not got people in with skill sets to do it? Yeah. That's why I said we need somebody that's a football man on the board. And in terms of recruitment as well, like I'm going back to Eckingbottom, but with Ganai, with these links with signings, we've been linked with that centre defender from Plymouth, haven't we? He's the only person that can really go through with that signing at the minute because we've got no coach that's going to authorise it or say this is what I want. And whoever's going to come in, the coach needs to identify these are the players that I want to work with and these are the players that I think is going to get us up. And then the board say, well, money's there on the table, not just one way or the other. I think it needs to be balance, and I think that's why it fell out with Heckingbottom, because apparently he didn't want Tiam, did he? Or a couple of other players that came in. Nash Molnar were one that he didn't want either.
I didn't. If I'm honest, I said after January last year, we're selling all them players. I said I felt sorry for Eke, and I could have always seen him going, purely because of what were happening.
We should have gone a long time before he left for Leeds. Really, I think his tactics weren't good enough. But then again, at the same time, they were a bit. You don't know what
they were better than Marias, weren't they?
Yeah, because he didn't. He knew that we weren't good enough to win a football game, or we couldn't defend.
Yeah.
So he thought, well, if we can't defend, well, I'm going to set us up not to concede.
Which didn't work, because we still did.
But then we went forward and we still conceded with Marias, because we missed so many chances at end of season that could have kept us up. Yeah. So we didn't have that balance. Maybe a bit of Marias and Heckingbottom on, but both of them on side might have kept us up. But it's going to go either way. I mean, this Stendhal guy, jury's going to be out. There's going to be some people not impressed. There's going to be some people give him a chance. I'll support whoever comes in.
Yeah. Oh, we can't knock them until we've judged them. Do you know what I mean? Because end of the day, we start doing that, it just ends up becoming a farce. We've got to give them that backing, and if results aren't working, then we can start. Maybe. Yeah.
I just don't want atmosphere at club getting any worse than it is.
No, we want them good times again, and hopefully, if we can get the right man in, we make some key signings in key areas. I think we need another striker. Yeah. I think we need midfield. I was going to say midfielder then. Somebody out wide, a winger, and another central defender. Well, if I'm honest.
Well, I've looked at it and I thought, well, we need 5 players, a keeper to challenge with Walton. I'd get rid of Davis. I think he's at his time now. A full back for left back. I'd either get rid of one of Pinios or Cavari. For me, they're not good enough. Pearson can do a job at full back with McCarthy and at centre back as well, so we're sort of there. Somebody front at back for an old head that's been about block. Yeah. Somebody that knows business. He's seen Coventry, that Doyle that played for them.
Yeah.
Old timer, but he knows what to do. He knows how to win a game. For me, 2 wingers, because Isgrove and Edges aren't reliable enough injury wise, and with Mahoney's gone back to Bournemouth, Hamill's been released, so we've only got 2 wingers.
And one of them's like what could you say? Like paper.
Yeah, you touch him and he's injured. Yeah. So Isgrove is make a break for me this season. He's got to prove himself. He weren't good enough last year. Even when he played, he just drifted out of games a lot. Maybe we might trim 1 or 2 players from centre midfield in terms of behind the front 2. We've got 5 players there with Mowat and McGeehan coming back. So it'll be interesting pre-season. Ganai, I don't think we'll buy many players. I think we'll sell maybe more than we're going to buy. We do need a definite striker, but I'd just like to see if we're going to buy players, just the money being there, quality over quantity this year for me.
Do you think we'll see a bit more of TM than this year? Do you think, or do you not think he's there at all?
For me, he's scored 1 goal all season for 900 grand. I mean. It's not good, is it? It's not good enough return, and we're trying to sugarcoat it. Really, that he's a winger, he's a striker, but that's partly due to scouting. If you don't know where he is, don't bring him in. You need to know what he can do rather than halfway through the season then put him on wing, start him there. If he's a winger,
seems to be a problem with football. This, doesn't it? You look at Marcus Rashford when he first started playing for Man U. He were playing up front, but now he's out on wing and now he's out wide. What other the?
I think he could do it. I think Tiam, there were signs that he's got potential. He just needs coaching properly. But for me, if he don't play regular, I can see him losing interest. And fitness were a big thing with him. Yeah. And for a professional footballer, that should be a prerequisite. There should be no excuses for fitness. You can be an awful player, but you can be fit as a fiddle. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That should be. You're getting paid enough a week to be fit. If you're on a diet and all that, professional footballers. Jury's out for me. I mean, I don't mind him, but I just think that he hasn't done enough to really say that he's like a. If we got rid of him, I won't be upset about it. Yeah. Bradshaw or Moore, I would be, because I feel that them two together could be really a good partnership in League One. They're both proven at League One. Yeah. Moore with Rotherham first half of the season. That's why we bought him.
Yeah, Bradshaw with Walsall.
Walsall scored 24. He more or less took them to playoffs on his own. But I'm telling you now, League One will not be easy next year.
No.
You got Sunderland now, new owner.
Yeah.
New manager, impetus there. Players will still want to go to Sunderland with size at club. Nigel Clough at Burton. They nearly kept them up on a shoestring budget.
Yeah.
And if they can keep their players, I think Burton will be up there. You got likes of Bradford and Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Southend with Chris Powell there. You got Peterborough with Steve Evans. He took Rotherham up.
Yeah.
You got Charlton, not a good footballing team, but they'll be there. Scunthorpe, if they can keep a couple of their good players. So there's going to be 6 or 7 teams that are going to be wanting to get in playoffs. For me, it's top 2. You've got to be looking at top 2.
Setting that as a...
with money that's there, because then you're like, well, if you've got an ambition for a club, you've got to put money on the table. We can't just be seen as a... This spreadsheet's got to be flexible. You can't just keep saying buy under 25, buy under 26 all the time. You've got to be flexible when it's needed. I'm all for bringing young players through, but at the same time, you've got to as well be quite sensible in your appointment. If we need 2 or 3 older lads in team, I'm all for that. Like we were linked with Luke Steele, weren't we? I'd love him to come back. Somebody that knows the club. And he's still a top keeper. We're a play for Panathinaikos for 2 years. Still a quality keeper.
They say with keepers, don't they? They're better with age.
Yeah.
They get that bit more experience. I'd have Steele back in a nutshell, me.
Mentions Walton as well for future, long term.
Yeah.
Walton hasn't signed a deal yet, though, has he? So that's something to keep an eye on now.
I don't know. I've not known.
They've offered Walton a deal, but he hasn't signed it yet. But maybe a lot of these younger lads are waiting to see whether the future lies with new coach.
Yeah.
Maybe our hoping that last week we'd have appointed someone. I'd have got him in for pre-season early.
Yeah.
Got signings in straight away. Decided who you want to keep, who you want to let go, and then start pre-season early and get them ready for that first game. Because we need to start season well.
Yeah.
We need that positivity back, because there's a lot of fans on forums saying that they feel like they just lost love for it. There's like they're a bit on a downer. Well, relegation always brings that, but it just seems like a bit of a, I don't know, weird atmosphere around club at the minute.
I think a lot of it's down to the fact that you look at where we were last year to where we are now. It's just that team. You think about it, that team what we had last year and year before when we won in playoffs, Urian, Winnall, Scowen, what a team it was. And now what we've got, it's upsetting, isn't it? In a way.
To fall though, didn't we? Last year we bought League One players and League Two players and conference players, so that's what you're going to get. Because there was so much pressure on them players to perform every week, and there weren't players that were good enough to replace them. So every week they were having to learn on go, and whether that were getting an hammering, they couldn't have a rest because they had to keep playing them. Yeah. So that's when the confidence were dropping, and because they were so young, you're going to get inconsistency.
Oh yeah.
For me, I'd like to see like Sadi Biojo coming through, Motley Henry, a couple of others. Just because I'd rather have them coming through than going to somebody like a Chelsea or an Arsenal and getting somebody on loan and getting somebody in squad. And for me, people are going to say, it does good relations for the club. I'd rather have a good relation with a player that's from our academy coming through.
Well, I think Motley Henry is a big one because we're, like you said, we're wingers. He is a winger. Yeah. I'd have Motley Henry at least on bench.
He only played half an hour against Villa.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Do you know what I mean? People are like, he weren't good enough. Well, he's playing Aston Villa at Villa.
And he didn't do that bad. Yeah. He didn't do that.
He's got pace, and pace causes defenders problems. And if he's coached properly, he can do good for us. Same with Isgrove. These players have got potential. They need coaching properly. And we need, like I said, just a few older lads, a couple of tweaks here and there, and potential's there. But if we let everybody go and do what we did when we went down under Keith Hill and just let every good player go, it's going to be a difficult season. I mean, I don't know... By the time this video, we could have. That's like I said there was a thing on Twitter saying that Stendel's already got it, and then somebody said Ainsworth's got it. But
you can't trust until it gets officially announced.
I mean, there's a couple of people I don't think that aren't being mentioned. Why we've not approached him? Nigel Pearson. Why have we not approached somebody like him? Even Roy Keane. I'd love to see him. Somebody just to say as it is.
I mean, I read the fan forums and stuff. What would you say to like the fans that say they don't necessarily want Grayson, they see him as he's had his day, this and that? I kind of understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, it's like, but they've won promotion. They know how to get teams up.
But not every team that you go to, you're going to do well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You look at, I don't know. You look at Conte last year with Chelsea, didn't do great. Do you know what I mean? Bradford they were off the scenes behind the scene problems. Yeah. Sunderland, people like Sam Allardyce and David Moyes couldn't solve that issue, or Chris Coleman, and I would say, you know, they're quite skilled coaches. So Grayson's had 2 hard jobs in the last 2 jobs. For me, I'd like to see good football down at Oatwell, but if it takes us up to Championship, mate, I'm not going to complain.
None of us will complain, will we, if we're winning games?
Is it short when we get to Championship? If we did appoint Grayson as somebody like him that's effective, then like we Huddersfield last season, they stayed in Premier League, but where do they go from there? Because they got same manager who's going to play it same way, just to pick up points under Wagner. This German thing, people are saying it could be next David Wagner. I can't see how you can compare when it's a totally different situation and circumstances. They're in Premier League. They had a lot. They invested in Championship when first year we were back in Championship, didn't they?
Yeah.
They got Aaron Moy in, people like that from they bought big. They reinvested in January. We let Oran and Winnell go.
Yeah, and that worked difference, wasn't it? Because I thought we were as good as Huddersfield that year.
Them 2 games, we matched them. We played them home and away. I went to both, sat at home end, and we matched them. And we matched nearly every team. Big turning point for me was letting Winnell go. Because
missed his goals, didn't we?
Yeah, missed his goals. I don't see why we're not. I'd like to see something like Adam Armstrong come back in or something like that.
Would you sign him permanent though?
He'll not sign permanent.
Who's he going to sign for though? Because he constantly goes out.
Blackburn, might he?
Blackburn could sign him. Yeah,
he's only 20.
Yeah,
I mean he's been to lot. He's been in Coventry,
in Championship. He scores in League One though, doesn't he? Yeah. So that's a key factor with
that.
It's
all about mindset with him. A good player, really good player. You saw that goal against Preston earlier. I think it was first game at sea.
First game for us, wasn't it? His debut.
That was a world-class goal. Yeah. If that were Messi...
A lot of people wrote him off, didn't they? Because he didn't score that many goals, but he's got that. He is a good player.
It's all up here. Work rate. And again, that's when you need a coach to give him a kick-up arse. He needs that. He needs it.
Well, isn't he? Fast, like Leighton.
I mean, we're more... he's a good player. His end product, if he can get his end product sorted out, he can be a real player. Lee Johnson said when we played him last season that he was the best striker that he's played against all the last season. Really? He said that after the game. Kiefer Moore, most toughest striker they played against. But will somebody come in for him for a bargain deal? Do you know what I mean? Because these players are on not big wages, but they're on Championship wages. Yeah. They want to stay on that. They're only young. They want to, like Yadam. They're wanting to do that. You know, Yadam, I weren't really bothered when he went. It were inevitable. We had a bonus season with Yadam because he was going to Huddersfield anyway. Yeah. But we need to replace him. We need to replace the players that leave because I didn't think we replaced Roberts really. Lindsay for me were good, and then he got a link with Brighton, and then it got to his head, and he weren't same since. Were he? Eckingbottom leaving affected him, I think, as well, because as soon as Ecky left, he seemed to go shit. But then the players that got better, Potts were a lot better. And
Lindsay as well. He never really had a stable partnership either, did he? You look who we played with. Jackson,
Pinnock were always injured.
Pinnock,
Pearson,
McDonald, Pearson.
I don't think Pearson were ready. McDonald weren't good enough. Well, obviously there were issues there, weren't there, with club, but you know, like I said, like you said, we never had a proper back two, did we? No. And we had Davis, who were only staying in team because there were nobody better than him before Walton. Yeah. We sent Walton out on loan, and we gave Townsend a go. Do you know what I mean? There's these little things that I'm looking back in past, but we need to learn from his lessons that board need to. It could go very wrong if they appoint somebody that nobody's ever heard of and it goes wrong. But it could also
go opposite, and it could be next manager to bring back the good times.
I don't want him to use as a stepping stone. This is one thing I don't want. Yeah. Again, a coach doing half decent ways like Lee Johnson did, and then use as a stepping stone.
Well, we'll have a look at some odds then now. So we've got Daniel Stendhal at 2-5. Who we've mentioned. Grant McCann's 12-5. Gareth Ainsworth 14-1. Gary Bowyer 18-1. Eckingbottom's on there 20-1.
Yeah, I think the Bowyer one is quite interesting because I think he did a decent job with Blackburn, a club that were in disarray under Venky's. Yeah. And then obviously he's had Oystons to deal with, and he's got him promoted to League One, and then got him a respectable finish with no budget at all. Yeah. So he's got experience at a higher level. He might not be the charismatic person that we're looking for, but he'd be a steady bet. Gary Bowyer, I think he'd be a decent bet with a bit of investment and support. Eckingbottom,
20 to 1.
Can't see it. I just think that's because he's been sacked by Leeds. I think there's no meaning behind that. He's been linked with Bradford, hasn't he? I can see him going there. I don't think he'll ever come back to the club, really.
Hans Wolf, 25 to 1.
He will link with Marias. He will link same time as Marias in February. I think Craig mentioned him. Former Stuttgart manager.
I can remember Craig mentioning him.
I mean, this is my theory. If he'll good enough, he'd be in a job now.
Well, could you say that for a lot though on that list?
A few of them would be already in jobs, aren't they? It's like I said, Hopkin for me, Hopkin or Ainsworth for me, 1 and 2, because they just got promoted, haven't they? They've got that positivity. They know how to get a team promoted.
Yeah, and I said to Craig the other day, I said I won't mind Ainsworth either because he's a character, isn't he? Yeah. I like it, Louise, long hair and stuff like that. He's a character.
I think if whoever we need to bring in, we need to invest and help them. Whoever we need to bring in, we need to keep them there and not just get a season. They do a good job, get us promoted. They're doing here for the season, here for a good season, then we let them go for nothing. Yeah. We need to keep them. Yeah. And we need to start taking clubs seriously a bit more, and that starts with board, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, I'm quite glad that with season ticket sales we've had, I'm really surprised with that. I think
over 8,000, yeah.
We're increasing prices, and obviously the fact we got relegated, that's a really good return. It shows how loyal fans are. So sometimes for us, for not in a bad way, because we always seem to get the worst end of it, don't we? Because we always have players leaving, managers leaving, us getting relegated. I mean, you went to every game last year.
Our Ipswich at home, which is annoying.
So I think I'd like to see prices gone down. I spoke about that before. Regardless of what league we'd have been in, I'd like to see them to gone down. Just a bit of a thanks to fans to say, thank you for your support and stuff like that.
We might see that if we get promoted. Who knows? Who knows? But we can't. It's like funny things like that, innit? We can't even say, are we confident yet that we're going to bounce straight back up?
Yeah. We
can't even say, are we confident we're going to sign so and so? Are we confident we're going to finish in playoffs? Are we confident we're going to get top 2? There's just no. We're in June and we still can't say, oh yeah, we can.
Oh no, it's a short transfer window as well. So it's not like we've got loads of time. Yeah. We've got to start looking at targets straight to whoever we bring in. It's got to sit down with players that we've got, think if they're good enough to stay, or can they go out on loan, or can they leave club permanent, and then bring in players that are good enough to get us up there, and have players that are good enough at system, not just bring anybody in, identify them. And board, the money's there. There's no such thing as the money isn't there. And I think this is what's going to frustrate most fans, is that they've got the money but they might not spend it. Yeah. Which is why people are going to question why you're here in the first place.
But then again, I can remember them also stating that they were going to be smart the way they did it. They didn't want to obviously go run club into debt like what we have had in past.
There's clubs that have done it properly that haven't spent
do it the right way. If they do it the right way, then I think that'll be all fine and that. But again, we're losing identity. We don't want to be splashing massive amounts. I know we'll not do that, but I'm just saying I don't want us to go out splashing millions on players.
It's a money business now, though, isn't it?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah.
Look at we've lost £6 million. Yeah. For a club our size, it's not really that big. It's quite a lot of money, and obviously, we've got this money in club front board. But £6 million we could have used that on a
few players,
transfers. Yeah. I think £8 million was our full season worth of transfer fees. Yeah. So we could have used that. We've got to start season well. Whoever we appoint, I'm going to support. But I don't know. Just a bit underwhelmed by it all. Don't know what to make of it. So it's all a bit up in air, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an awkward one. But I'm just hoping something gets sorted soon. Yeah. And then we can start looking forward. I think fixtures might be out before we.
Pre-season's out end of week, I think, or start next week, and kit as well, I think, has been announced.
Normally be. Oh, kit as well. Oh, yeah, looking forward to that. Probably big Grimsby or something. Normally, isn't it? So, all right then, guys. Well. As Luke says, hopefully something gets sorted soon, as we all hoping, and then we can start looking forward. We can start deciding whether we're going to have a season preparing or whether we're going to be, struggling and stuff. But let's get that manager or coaching, whoever it might be, manager as well, innit? But it's not going to be one.
So that's football's changing altogether. I don't think managers, that term's going down pan. You can still have a relationship where you identify players and say, this is who I want. is money there, and we need to work. But like that, there's that balance because they've got the money, but manager needs to identify right players. So that's where that relationship needs to come in. So hopefully they can get a guy that they can work with, and that's obviously they're going to work with him as well. It works both ways. We just need to support him. Whoever's going to come in, we need to support him. I prefer somebody that's coached in England, but if it's somebody that's coached abroad, they must have picked him for the right reasons. Whoever comes in, we've got to give him some form of faith, and then judge him afterwards if it don't work out.
Yeah, well, we'll do that, won't we? We always get behind as manager or coach. But yeah, hopefully something's sorted soon, then we can start bringing players in and just look to the future, and hopefully we can bounce straight back up. So thanks for watching, guys. Again, apologies for there not being many videos. There isn't really much to report on, but hopefully there is very, very soon, and hopefully we can start getting Luke and Craig back and all the other guests to talk about the events and what's happening. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you later. Thank you for watching Tykes TV. Make sure to check out our other videos that are also on the channel. If you like the video, please give us a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe so you don't miss out on our latest videos. All the best, God bless.